Hi everybody, welcome to Begg's Banter, brought to you by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental, torquing, testing, refurbishment and welding, and also by Lux Scott, a jet-class luxury vehicle company. If you're looking to travel anywhere in style, these are the guys for you, and there are their contact details. Feel free to drop them a line anytime. Hi everyone, welcome to a brand new edition of Begg's Banter here on Ali Begg ABTV on YouTube. Now, if you've not subscribed, I would be extremely grateful if you would jump on board. If you like, of course, what you see. We're building a really good community here, and I think, well, I'm hopeful that you'll enjoy all of the content which is coming up in the coming months. Begg's Banter is about interviewing predominantly ex-Aberdeen players about their time at the football club, but we have big plans to speak to well-known faces from the world of football going forward. So just keep an eye on my social media channels for that. We've got plenty coming up very soon. So, shall we crack on and introduce tonight's very special guest? He's a bit of a club legend, to be honest, and he's also an absolutely brilliant guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Duncan Shearer. Duncan signed for Aberdeen on the 8th of July 1992. Willie Miller paid £500,000 for his services from Blackburn Rovers. He scored twice on his debut and instantly became a fan's favourite. He helped the Dons win the 1995 Coca-Cola League Cup final, where he scored our second and decisive goal. He left in 97 but returned as Stevie Patterson's assistant in December 2002. I was delighted to catch up with him from his home in the Highlands of Scotland. Hi Duncan, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for coming on and spending your evening with me tonight. It's lovely to see you. I'd like to go back to your teenage years. Is it true that Sir Alex Ferguson invited you to a trial at Aberdeen and you were set to go on the train from Inverness to Aberdeen? Excuse me, and the game got cancelled at the last minute and you didn't get to go. Is that true?
Well, it was a bit of both. I'd already been for a week, Ali, and then they invited me back the following week. They'd arranged a game against Arbroath, I think it was, and it was a bad winter night when the game got called off. So I just turned away, Ali, and I went back to Fort William, instead of going back through. It's just a bit of a mix-up at the time, I'm presuming that he wanted me to go back through for another week's training, but I never heard anything after that, and I just left out of that. So
Okay.
no hard feelings.
So you have to excuse me tonight. I have a terrible cold. It's doing my brain in, so I'm very sorry if I'm coughing through this interview. Actually, before you signed in July 1992, is it also true that you had a chance to sign for Aberdeen 4 months previously, but you decided to stay at Blackburn?
No, I just let me think now. What happened? Aberdeen. No, I decided to go to Blackburn. There was a lad called, I think it was Mel Henderson, at Ipswich Town, a Scottish journalist, and he had heard that I was on the move from Swindon, and I think Willie tried to come in then and put a bid in, but by then I'd already been on the road to Blackburn with Kenny Dalglish. So, to be honest with you, it would have been hard for Willie to persuade me to go up north then, just you go to Blackburn, they're sitting top of the championship, and so Kenny Dalglish was a manager, so that was something that I wanted to pursue,
Okay.
So I went to Blackburn.
So did you then need much persuasion to join when Aberdeen came back in for you a second time?
No, because it was at the end of the season, and I played the first few games for Blackburn. Then I sat on the bench for the final 4 or 5 games, and I knew then that Blackburn were, they were the team. They were the Man City, if you could put it that way, at the time of the championship. Got to Wembley, played Leicester at Wembley, got through there, and I knew they were going to spend big. And I thought, my chances of getting a game here are going to be pretty limited, and I'm not going to spend the tail end of my career sitting on the bench. And as it was, Kenny had phoned me up and said, "Listen, I'm just on the verge of signing Alan Shearer. He signed for Alan for 3.5 million. He says, listen, there's a contract there for you, but you'll be in the squad like everyone else, And the other thing is, he says, Aberdeen have come back in for you. Is that something that would interest you?" And I said, yes, it would be. So then I went away and I spoke to Willie. I flew up to Aberdeen and instant impression straight away. And I'm a wee bit sad, Ali, because I've been back to Aberdeen many times since, and I don't get that same feeling that was there round about that time. With the directors coming in and join us for lunch, and listen, I don't know at the moment. They might be trying to get back to something like that, but it was a fantastic feeling. And my wife's English, Michelle, and she says to this day, it's certainly the most welcoming club that I've been at, and it was a fantastic time to be at Aberdeen as well.
Yeah.
We built a really, really good team.
You actually made a sensational start. I was doing my research today, and I didn't actually appreciate that you scored 6 goals in your first 4 games. Now, I know they're all pre-season friendlies, but they all still matter. So when you first started playing and you get to know your teammates, did you feel an instant connection with them?
I think so. There were certain players that I felt that your Ian Jesses, the Paul Masons of the world. I thought these boys know how to link up with the striker as well. When I first arrived, it was David Wiley, the physio that picked me up at the airport.
Oh, really?
And the first thing I said to him was like, "So, are we going anywhere pre-season tour?" And that, she says, "No, we're just going to Highlands." So I just thought, there we go. Rewind 15 years, we're going to play Ross County, we're playing Forest, we're playing Bucky, all these sort of teams. But in a way, it was good to go back to these places. But it was an instant start for me in terms of Highland League. But I think you would expect that, a team of Aberdeen's calibre, especially the players we had, that we were going to go to them games and dominate them, and there was going to be loads of chances about. So, but I think for me, I've always said that about strikers joining clubs. You need to hit the ground running. You need to convince a whole new set of fans that you can score goals. It's all right them looking at your record, but that was in front of other fans. You have to convince Aberdeen fans that you can score goals. Yeah. So luckily enough, I did that.
Yeah, it's an excellent point, because you actually played with a number of different players up front during your time with Aberdeen, and you just seem to have that almost like a comfortable nature with anybody that you played with. Is that a fair assessment?
I think so, yeah. But and these players that you're talking about, your Mixes and your Ians and Scott Booths and Billy Dodds, they'll all tell you the same thing, that I don't go too far away from the width of the 18-yard box. I don't run the channels and don't do this. But I remember a quote that Alec, when we played Hibs in the first league game in my debut, and we won 3-0, I think it was, and I managed to get a couple of goals. And I remember Alec speaking in the press afterwards. I read in the paper the next day. He says, "We've now found the Joey Harper, that we're looking for, that 6-yard box player, that would be missing for a number of years." So it was, and I think he probably described me as good as anybody did,
Yeah, very complimentary. All right, I have some quick fire questions for you, so feel free to answer them in one-word answers or as quickly as you like. So I've got 3 for you to begin with. Okay. Where did you lodge when you first arrived in Aberdeen? Can you remember?
Alton's Hotel.
Alton's Hotel. Okay. Which training ground did you prefer? Seaton Park, the Barracks, or the Red Ash Car Park?
The Barracks.
And what was your first club car?
I think it was a Nissan, sponsored by the Dolphin Chip Shop.
Oh, nice. Did you have your name splashed on it?
Yes, I had Duncan Shearer. Good friends are still to this day. Graham Herd was the same age as me, and his dad owned the Dolphin Chip Shop. So
brilliant.
They kind of laughed, give me a car.
Okay, I'll have some more quickfire ones for you in a moment. But let's talk about season 92-93, because obviously we finished runners-up on 3 different Scottish League Cup, Scottish Cup, and the league. Yeah. Can I just ask, at the end of that season, do you forget about it quickly? Or did it actually bug you for a while during the close season?
It bugged me because of the age I was at.
Okay.
You know, I'd played at Wembley a couple of times and came out winners, Swindon and Blackburn. But then that was my first finals, you know, obviously you play local finals down in Swindon and things like that. But that was my first finals. I think the League Cup hit me quite hard.
Yeah.
The one we went to extra time and Gary Smith was unfortunate, you know, clipping an own goal. And it wasn't until we were walking around the park afterwards, I'm thinking, that's me now, 29, 30, you know, and I'm still looking for my first real winners medal. So that one really hurt badly, as did the Scottish Cup, of course, as well.
Can I ask you about the Great Escape? How on earth we managed to save ourselves from relegation? I know that you and I have spoke about this before, and there was a real coming together of not just the players, but the fans and the club and the city. It was like we all came together. But when did you first start to sense that there was a sort of a change going on, that you could get out of this?
I think I'm not sure if Billy. I don't think Billy played. We played Falkirk away, and we had to win about 3 or 4 of the games. Our Hearts were away, Falkirk were away, and we played the young boy Scott Thompson. Went up front with me. He scored I think he scored a good goal. But I thought then, you know, if we can beat these teams with young kids, even then coming into the team, we've got a great chance, you know. And the rest for me was, you know, and I've been quoted on it before. The rest for me was massive support from the fans. They just to get right behind us like that, and I didn't think, to be honest with you, I think we would have beaten anybody outside the Old Firm in that playoff. So,
was avoiding relegation, did you get more satisfaction from that than winning the Coca-Cola Cup final in '95?
well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
really.
Anybody will tell you that the league's the benchmark for you. And for, you know, I remember when I'm jumping ahead of myself here, but I'm giving you a quote here. I remember Willie Miller leaving Aberdeen, and I remember Roy Aitken taking over. We beat Rangers 2-0, and then we played Stenhousemuir in the Scottish Cup away from home, and we got beat. And I remember Roy Aitken waiting about 15, 20 minutes before he came into the changing room afterwards, and he popped his head around the door. And what he said was just curling. And he just turned around and said, "Congratulations on being part of the team that's probably the worst cup result in Aberdeen's history." Oh, and it was cutting. It was real, and here it's the truth. And it was pretty cutting, you know. And I thought to myself then, you know, that's us being part of a team that's probably one of the worst results that Aberdeen had in the Scottish Cup. How would you feel if you were part of a team that got relegated? It just didn't bear thinking for me. Didn't bear thinking.
That 1995 Coca-Cola Cup final, how high up there in your football career is that, winning that medal, and the fact that you scored in the final as well?
Massive, obviously, with me coming from Scotland as well. I'm not sure how many foreigners, even include English players that come up and play in cup finals and Scottish Cup finals for the Old Firm or Hearts or whoever is in the final at the time, how much they appreciate it as much as the Scottish players. I appreciate it. I was brought up watching the Scottish Cup final. I was watching the League Cup final. So although I went away for 9, 10 years down in England, coming back and then getting to a Scottish Cup final and a couple of League Cup finals was massive for me playing at Hampden. Absolutely massive.
Do you still have your shirt from that game?
Yeah, it's up there on the left-hand side.
Is it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you've got it framed up on your wall.
The SFA Cup final, 1993. I can just see a T behind one of the strips. I'm presuming that's Abtrust, is that right?
Yeah. Okay, so that would have been the Scottish Cup final.
Yeah.
So the North Sound. So the Coca-Cola Cup final was the North Sound shirt.
That's the one below it, Ali. I don't know if you want me to turn this around and show you, or.
Oh, I'd love to see it if you can.
I don't know if you'll be able to see it.
Oh, look! Yeah, look at that.
Can you get her?
Yeah, yeah.
The top one's the Swindon one, then the Blackburn, and then the two, the Scottish Cup and the Coca-Cola Cup.
And that's a Scotland shirt as well, is that right? To the left?
Yeah, oh, that's my debut for Scotland against Finland.
Oh, lovely. While you
And
were
then
playing at Aberdeen, right?
yeah, that's right. That's when I got, and then over on the far side, some Scotland caps.
Oh, look at that.
So they'll go to my kids, obviously.
Very nice.
So they're nice mementos, you know. I can understand when people like, you know, people like Scott Brown have got all these strips and cups and that. You can't put them in your house, you know. And it's a pleasure to give them away because a lot of people. But I needed to keep these ones. They were very special for me.
Yeah.
I didn't get to many finals or even play for Scotland very often, you know. So,
Very nice. Nicely done as well. Lovely. Very nicely presented. Okay, I have three quick fire questions for you. Okay. What was the strangest or the funniest fine that you saw given at Aberdeen Football Club?
uh, no, I can't. To be honest with you, I don't. We weren't big on fines at the time, you know. Like I know players do their own poll and that now, Ali. You know, I've seen a horrific notice in Chelsea first team changing ground, you know, about fines. And these fines are £500, £1,000, 1,500 just for being late 5 minutes. You know, these people are in a way in a different world. I don't remember much going on in terms of fines in Aberdeen. I think we were all too well behaved, to be fair.
Did you clean your own boots?
No, a man called Jim Warner.
Yes.
And all. Do you remember the old boot boy? And I used to love going in and having a chat with him and that at the time. Awful nice man. And he would insist on cleaning all the boots, you know.
Really?
But what I did do, I never let them go into the hamper.
Okay.
But all the other boys, I always carried them in a bag myself because I was frightened in case for some reason they weren't packed, you know. I didn't. It's a bit like going on holiday, your luggage.
Aye.
People rely on their wife to pack their bag. No. Pack my own bag so I know what I've got. So I always carried them about.
Okay, that kind of leads me nicely to the next question. Did you have any superstitions?
No.
No. Okay.
Absolutely. Never heard so much rubbish in all my life.
Okay.
Putting on a left sock before a right sock. That means you're going to score a goal. Oh, no, come on. Weak-minded. That's what I would call that, Ali. Weak-minded people.
Yeah, I must admit, I do find it slightly odd. I get why people do it, but I do find it slightly odd. Yeah. So whatever. Each to their own. That's what I say.
Oh, that's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah. So when you came back to Aberdeen alongside Stevie Patterson as a coach, how did you find that transition from being a player at the club and then coming back and now being a coach? How was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, I love the coaching part of it, you know, but there's a lot more to the work being put into it. I see how people like Derek McInnes and that go 24/7, you know, and they do it everything. They're never switching off, and that was the difficult thing was switching off after training. It was constantly all the time. Even at night time, you're taking phone calls about players from agents, and you just don't get a minute to yourself. I found that quite difficult. But once we got on the training field and we knew what we were doing, I loved that part of it.
Okay, I really hope that you understand where I'm coming from this question. It's been well documented what happened with Stevie. As far as I'm concerned, the privacy part of it has absolutely nothing to do with us. It's none of our business, and it should always stay none of our business. But what I would like to ask you is, as a good friend of his, you had to watch that, you had to experience that, and at the end of the day, he was your friend. So did there ever come a time when he needed your support, just as a friend, nothing to do with football, and that maybe football had to take a back seat?
Yeah, that was obviously on. And, you know, I've never ever spoken to Zali, but I'll do you a wee favour and I'll speak a little bit about it. And
Okay, thank
I'll
you.
just answer the question that you've just given me, and that's about it.
Okay.
The time that you probably needed me most, and he was never one for asking for things, Steve, was the time that, you know, he failed to turn up for the game.
Yeah.
And I went round after the game, we went round to the flat. and we sat and we had a good couple of hours talking, just the two of us ourselves. And that was probably, well, that probably is the lowest I've seen Steve, you know. And I don't think he knew what to say to me. I don't think he knew what to say to Osher Williams at the time. I don't think he knew what to say to anybody. It was one of these things that happened, and you know, at that time, I was just hoping and praying that Stuart would, you know, help him as much as he can in terms of what was happening to him, because I know inside there, and I've seen it plenty of times. There's a very good coach in there, but the demons, you know, what do you do? You know, what do you do? There's not a lot you can do, and Stuart's got a club to protect. And at the end of the day, for me, and I told Stuart that when I went in to see him and Keith Wyness, Stuart had said that it was a real difficult one, particularly with my involvement with the club before, about letting me go. It was a really difficult one for him. But I explained to him that I thought that honestly, that was the correct decision for the club. For me, there was never in doubt, you know. So we went our own ways from there.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, it was a guy who was ill, who had demons, and he needed help and support, and everything else should remain private. Thank you for sharing that. I really do appreciate it. One last question before the last quickfire questions. If you could turn back the clock and change anything from your time with Aberdeen, what would you like to change? Is there a moment? Is there an incident? Is there anything you'd like to change?
I would go back to when you mentioned right at the start that I had a trial with Aberdeen. I was 18 at the time. I would love to have joined Aberdeen at 16 on an apprenticeship. I missed out on all that. You know, I didn't become a pro till I was a professional until I was 21. I was still playing Inverness Clach. So I got envy. And when I went to Chelsea, my first week I trained with the Chelsea under 19 team, just to bed me in a little bit. And they had just won the FA Cup. And these boys were just like a talent I'd never seen. They were on a different planet, you know. So it was fantastic. And I thought, I would really like to have been, and had I been 16, I'd have been somewhere along the same age as Eric Black, Brian Gunn, Neil Simpson, and I would love to have joined these boys because I was in awe of these boys of what they did at Aberdeen. I would love to have been part of that group and coming through with them and being part of the Gothenburg thing, you know. So that's the thing that I would have liked, but I missed out on that. So I probably missed 4 or 5 years of my career. Hanging about the Highland League and doing bits and pieces, hoping somebody one day will give me a chance. Which I was lucky enough I did, to be fair, you know, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. Okay, 3 quick fire questions and then we're done. Okay, the best game you think you played for Aberdeen?
Partick Thistle away. 7-0 win, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Midweek, got a hat trick in that game.
Okay.
Everybody played really well.
Yeah.
Everybody played well, and I was at the end of the finishing touches, so to manage to get a hat trick.
Okay. Favorite goal that you scored for Aberdeen?
Between 2, both against the Arabs.
Okay.
Sorry, Dundee United. An overhead kick in the league, and the league game just before we played the playoffs. A game that we had to win at Pittodrie. We beat them 2-1.
Yes.
Billy had broke down the left, squared it along the 18-yard line, and smashed it in. And the roof went off the stand. It was fantastic feeling that.
Yeah.
Plus it was so important to win that game.
Your celebration as well, that arm, that fist coming through, brilliant. Yeah, great goal.
Learn that from the wife. I come back late from the pub.
Okay, last question. The best player that you played with at Aberdeen?
Jim Bett.
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
So many people say Jazza. It's unbelievable.
Slowest man. He's slower than a week in jail. But oh dear. It's just I used to hate being in the box running about when he's got the ball on the outside. You just couldn't get it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, what a player.
Great talent.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Duncan. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you for spending the time with me tonight. Thank you for sharing your stories. And it's great to see you. And hopefully we'll catch up again very soon. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Ali. Thank
Take
you, mate.
care.
Cheers, pal.
There you go. Duncan Shearer, one of the nicest and also one of the funniest guys you will ever meet. If that so that sort of gives you a feel for what we do on Begg's Banter. I've got other interviews on the YouTube page as well. Lee Richardson, cult hero, Hans Heelhouse, who was absolutely fantastic. And we also did our first celebrity, Begg's Banter, with an actor called Phil Daniels, who is from Quadrophenia fame. We're working on a couple of more celebrity interviews at the moment, and I'm hoping to get them over the line and bring them to you very, very soon. Going to be talking about fame and the effect of fame. So, yeah, look out for that, coming very soon. So, guys, listen, thanks again for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's interview with Deadly Dunk, and we shall see you again very soon here on Ali Begg ABTV. Enjoy the rest of your day.